Now, it's no secret that FM24 has been out for a very long while now, and it's got to the stage where the majority of us have signed all of the best Wonderkids and the best players, and we know who the good players are. That's why recently I've been focusing a lot on some of my favourite hidden gems for you guys to sign, but today there's going to be a little bit of a twist, because instead of looking at my picks, we'll be looking at yours. We've scoured the comments on all of our recent videos to find some of the best suggestions that you guys have given to us. I've gone through them all, whittled them down to find some great hidden gems you've likely not used but are still very good in game. They're all great value for money, and we've got players of all different kinds of ability levels, so no matter what your save is, hopefully there'll be someone for you today. If you do go on to enjoy the video, smash the like button, press the subscribe button, and I'm probably going to try and get through this video as quick as possible, because as of right now, it's the hottest day on record of the year in the UK. I'm in a room with industry lights on the top floor of my house, where basically all the heat's rising, and I don't know if I'm going to make it through this video, but all being well, there's 10 players to look at today, so let's get right into it. And the first player we're going to be checking out is a centre-back. Now, we all go out there and sign Diamonde, Antonio Silva, whoever it might be, but if you haven't got that budget or you want an alternate option, then why not check out Bijlo? Now, like I say, these are all suggested by you guys. I ran through them and found some of the best, and he was a great option for the price. I think in real life, Leeds have just signed him. Based on Football Manager, it looks like it's a pretty good shout of a player to buy. He is a £7 million defender, 24 years of age, and an international with plenty of experience already, who's played in Serie A now for a couple of seasons, originally playing his football in Slovenia and then Russia. But what I love about him in a Football Manager sense is the fact that he has exactly what he needs to be overpowered in the in-game engine. Tall, strong, great in the air with 18 heading to. Play a corner onto this guy's head and you will get goals. I mean, he's got 16 jumping reach, 18 heading, being 6'3" and strong, naturally fit, quick as well. He's not slow in any sense really. He's got everything he needs in the physical department, and mentally he's very well rounded too. Now, there are a few things that I'd like to maybe brush up on a little bit. The passing vision and technique make me think he's not exactly going to be a ball playing defender, but if you're looking for a stopper, an out and out defender next to someone who's maybe a little bit more progressive, then for 7 or 8 million, Bijlo is a great player to pick up, and he's one of many great defenders in Serie A that you can get for a pretty reasonable price. But let's move away from the defence and head more towards the midfield for our next player, as we pick out Alexander Kovalenko, a Russian international 19-year-old who I'm led to believe does sometimes represent Armenia in game if he doesn't get the caps with Russia, because the comment that suggested him, it said he was an Armenian international, which he isn't here, but I guess maybe in some saves he can eventually get to that point. If you look at his information, he can play for Armenia, so it would make sense. But if we completely disregard any talk about his nationality and just look at him as an individual player, you're looking at a £5 million 19-year-old with potential to get way better than what he currently is, who excels in the creative departments with 14 passing and 14 vision, as well as having a pretty good trinity of first touch finishing and dribbling, all of an 11 or higher. Now, realistically, if you're Man City, if you're Liverpool, he's not the kind of player you'll want, but if you're maybe a high-level Championship team, low-level Premier League, looking for a player that could potentially develop into a high-end Premier League talent, then Kovalenko could be the man. He's got some great attributes to start with. There are some weaknesses in his game, I won't lie, with only 6 strength, but he is someone that likes to get in for a tackle. He's either-footed, he can do a lot of the midfield roles, very well-rounded, and a great option for only 4 or 5 million, who, like I say, being 19, has potential to get better, and I guarantee, even if he doesn't become a superstar for you, you'll be looking at a 15-20 million pound player in no time. Speaking of midfielders, we move on to our next suggestion, who's actually someone that I've signed in plenty of my own saves as well, so I was very happy to see his name popping up in the comments. It's Hellas Verona 21-year-old Slovakian international Tomas Suslov, who is available for only £6 million, and for that value, you're getting a very versatile midfielder, but realistically, he likes being in the centre of the park or in that number 10 spot. Now, he's very forward-thinking, doesn't have great tackling or positioning, so I wouldn't really want him doing any kind of defensive role in the midfield or any kind of all-action role like a box-to-box. I think you're going to have him either in some kind of playmaking role or the Mazzala. Realistically, for me, I want to see him in that number 10 spot with 13 passing, 14 vision, and 14 technique. The left-footed midfielder offers great dribbling ability and set-piece ability too, whilst being physically very dominant and mentally super well-rounded. In fact, it's probably the best area of his game, where at only 21, he is already a mental beast with great attributes in every single area. Again, £6 million is a great value for the player getting here, formerly of Groningen. He has moved to Hellas Verona. Depending on your save, I don't know whether he's moved since then in real life. This is the standard Football Manager database from the winter update, which obviously now it's over a year old, so a lot of these players may have moved on. But either way, in your saves, if you can find Suslov and he's available for any kind of decent fee, he is a great option. In game, he's really good because he's just well rounded at everything. He's someone that is going to perform for you. Even if you do have to shove him on the wings, he can do a half decent job. So he offers you that versatility, he offers you ability. Being 21, there's a lot of upside as well. This isn't the final form of Suslov. By the time he's 24, 25, you'll be looking at a way more complete option, and that's saying something because he already looks great, so he's definitely one to check out in your saves. But I did mention I've signed him in one of my saves, and that was part of a rebuild I did on my channel, which you can find linked in the description if you want to check it out. Over there, I do weekly videos from experiments to simulations, rebuilds, whatever it might be, and I genuinely think in the last couple of months the quality has gone up a lot. I've got a new editor and I've put in a lot more effort into the staging of the videos, I guess. So if you haven't checked out the channel in a while, or you never have, make sure you come on over, hit that subscribe button for me on the road to 50k subs. But I'll stop with the plug-in now. Let's go and take a look at our final 7 players. There's still some great ones to look at. But it's time to move away from midfielders and to take a look at a striker, and it's Besiktas's Congolese forward Jackson Muleka, who's a player I think I've brought up in one video in the past over the last 2 or 3 years of playing FM24, but he's someone that was recommended in the comments not once, not twice, but 3 times, and it wasn't by the same person either. So clearly there's a good player here, and you know what? For the value you can get him for, it's hard to deny it. A 23-year-old, so obviously not yet in his prime, that you can pick up for £4 million, and for me, is Premier League quality. Now, he's not a, Man City, Liverpool kind of player, as mentioned before. But if you're a Wolves, if you're a Burnley, if you're a Leeds, this guy would be a great option for you up front because he offers a lot, both in terms of the physical ability, but also in terms of hard work as well. Let's start with those physicals, where he's very well rounded in terms of having a bit of speed, a bit of aerial ability, and a bit of strength. He's not necessarily stand out in any one particular area, but he can do it all at a decent level. But mentally is where you really start to see him coming into his own. With 14 off the ball work and 16 work rate, as well as 16 teamwork, it's going to suit him very nicely with that moves into channels player traits. He'll be allowing other players to get involved, facilitating a play. He can play on the left and the right, but realistically, you want him as a pressing forward up top. Maybe in a few years, he could be a good complete forward, but the lack of passing ability does kind of worry me there a little bit, and the dribbling too. But he's a good finisher who I think if you have him pressing the opposition line, maybe even as a strike partnership, you're going to get great results out of. I know for a fact he does score goals in FM. Whether he'll score at a Premier League level on a regular basis is another question. Based on the amount of times he was suggested, clearly he's impressed a few people. One of my favourites from this list though is a left back that I don't think I've ever came across before. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recognise this guy. Suggested by you lot, his name is Florian Kleinhansel, who plays for Osnabrück, who are a team in the 2nd division of Germany at the time of recording, at the start of this save. Now, at age 22, you're thinking a fullback in the 2nd tier of German football for a club you might not have even heard of, he can't be that good. But actually, have you seen many left-backs better than that for a price of £1 million? I don't think you will have done. He's a very forward-thinking defender that can do the defensive side of the job as well, with very good physical attributes. He's going to bomb up and down the line with 13 work rate, he's got decent pace, decent strength and aerial ability, and he's naturally fit with some good stamina. He curls the ball as his player trait, which will suit that corner taking and crossing that he does have at a high level, and that should be noted that in the technical department, this guy is great going forward. He can't finish, but everything else is perfect. Long throws, free kicks, dribbling ability, crossing, corners. This man is going to be your set piece whiz. He's got 14 for tackling as well. I'm going to say it, I think this is a Premier League mid-table level defender in that left-back spot that you can get for £1 million. Mentally really good as well. Does he stand out at one particular thing? No, but he's almost like a baby Grimaldo in terms of what I'm seeing here. Or if you played FM a few years ago, Jose Gaia, he was a great left-back, and Kleinhansel here gives me similar vibes, where he's just very good with the ball at his feet, and he can do the defensive shift as well. The set pieces are going to be a godsend. He can even take a penalty should you need him to, but he's a fantastic option if you're looking for a wing back or a left back. Maybe this guy might be one of my favourites from the list, so well done you guys for pointing him out. But I said there'd be a player for all kinds of saves, and how about a striker that you can get on loan in your first season from a League One club, or you can go out and sign him for around £2 million. He plays for Charlton Athletic in League One, his name is Miles Leburn, and he is formerly of Chelsea. Now, if you don't sign him in your first season, you can get him for way cheaper. In fact, the comment that recommended him said he picked him up for £90,000, which is obviously way less than what you're seeing here. I imagine that's with 1 season's development being in the last year of his deal. You might be able to get him for a bargain, but either way, if you can get this guy into your club, you are looking at a great option, particularly for the lower levels of English football. Don't get me wrong, by the time you get to the Prem, you want someone else, but at 19, he's obviously got potential to get better. But what I love about him is the fact that he suits this match engine down to the ground. 6'5" with 15 jumping reach and 14 strength with a bit of pace as well. He is going to dominate aerially as a target forward in the lower divisions with 13 heading and 14 finishing. He really can be the man to guide your team to promotion with 14 work rate as well and good off the ball work. He's obviously not going to be a superstar of world football, but particularly in these lower levels, he could be a great option. In fact, the comment that recommended him that said that they got him so cheap said that he carried them to the Premier League. Now, at that point, yes, you probably want to move on and sign someone else, but 6'5" striker, he'd be a great player to pick up in your save if you find him to be available. But one of my favourites in this whole list is a player that I've covered in a few videos in the past, but is still not giving anywhere near enough recognition in the FM space, because I would go as far as saying he might be one of my favourite players in the whole game, and you guys are starting to pick up on this based on the comments that we've been seeing, because this is Leonardo Fernandez, a 24-year-old Uruguayan that you can sign for 3 or 4 million playing for Peñarol on loan from Deportivo Toluca in Mexico. Peñarol, if you don't know, are a club out in Uruguay. And you look at this player, you look at the fact he's 5'6" in his physicals, he's a bit quick. You know what, he's an average player in that sense, of course he is. You get to the mentals and you're thinking, okay, he's looking quite decent, and then you see the 17 finishing, and then it all starts to come together, because this 5'6" diminutive midfielder is an absolute genius with the ball at his feet. He's got 15 flair, 15 passing, 15 technique. With that 17 finishing, you know you're getting an elite level creator. Add in 15 long throws, that's a nice bonus, and 18 free kicks with 15 corners, and he is one of the best set piece takers in world football. And you expect it's going to end there, else you would have heard of him by now, right? No, he's got 16 crossing, as well as 14 finishing and 15 first touch, as well as 14 dribbling as well. So this guy can dribble, score, can beat a man, and he can play a crossing as well. And he's got 17 long shots, just to add to it. He is genuinely one of the best players technically in the whole of Football Manager. Likes to try killer balls often, comes to get the ball from deep and shoots from distance, some traits that really suit his game. The left-footed attacking midfielder is someone that I suggest you all go out and sign if you can. He is genuinely an elite level Premier League player sitting out in Uruguay for a really cheap fee. What he's done to earn this kind of ability in Football Manager, I'm not so sure. It's not like he's been prolific in his whole career, mainly only played in South America so far, but if you can sign him for your team, you are going to get a superstar. Moving into our final 3 players now though, and let's take a look at the player that I would say is the most well-known in this list. It's Lucas Guarnadouaf of Red Bull Salzburg, a player that I've signed on many an occasion, but it seems like you guys are starting to have some fun with him as well, because as far as young defensive midfielders go, he's probably the best out there for this kind of value. For only 13 million quid, you are getting a Champions League level ready central defensive midfielder who has already got plenty of experience to his name. I mean, he's an under 17 for France, he's been playing for Saint Etienne since he was a kid, and he's been in Austria with Salzburg for a while after an £11 million move. Now at 6'1", he's got a bit of size to him, he's very well rounded physically, good in all areas, and mentally you can say the same thing. Now his technicals are maybe the part where he lacks a little bit with only 11 tackling. He's not the world's best tackler and he's not the world's best passer either, but you can see what could be built here, because I've seen many a time he becomes that number 6 in the France national team. That's the kind of level he can get to. I've seen him playing for Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG. He is that kind of level of player. The potential he has means he will develop very quickly as well. He'll near enough always have elite level potential, and I just think he's a great option. I mean, I know he's not the best at any one particular thing technically, but he's just got a great base set of attributes, and I love to see it in FM when you can kind of just mould him into whatever you want, whether that's a box-to-box midfielder in the centre of the park, or whether you want him to just be a straight-up anchor at the base of your midfield. He can do it all. He just needs a bit of development, and he can get there. But already, he's one of Salzburg's best, and a great option for you lot to sign. But if you want someone a little bit cheaper than him of a similar level, you can check out Enzo Leopold, who granted is a few years older, but this German 22-year-old of Hanover, a team in the second tier of German football, is a great pick for only £2 or £3 million. He's a defensive midfielder that can also play centre mid, but primarily is going to focus on the tackling area of the game. Yes, he can pass, and he's also a decent dribbler and set piece taker, but realistically, with the work rate, the teamwork, and the fact he loves these ball winning duties, I think that's where you're going to want to have him. Mentally, he's an absolute beast, and whilst he does struggle in the strength department a little bit, he's still going to get around, he's going to work hard, he'll throw himself into a lot of tackles, and at 5'9", do not be fooled. This guy will be bouncing around and getting stuck in the middle of a park. He's a great option, and again, when you're looking at the price, it's hard to argue it otherwise. He is a Bundesliga mid-table level player available from the second tier for only 2 million. You could sign him and flip him instantly for 10 or 15 million. Never mind by the time he's 25, 26 and develops even further, he genuinely can be an elite level midfielder with the right growth, the right nurturing. He's a great pick from you lot. But we finish off with our last player in this video, and it is another youngster that can develop into being a top talent. Paul Niebel is a 20-year-old from Mainz. He's out on loan in his first season in the second tier of Germany, so you have to wait until that's over. But once you have, you've got an agile player with plenty of stamina and work rate that can operate pretty much anywhere on the pitch, left back or striker, but ideally you want him in that attacking midfield spot or the centre mid position where he's got some great creative attributes already, works hard like mentioned, and he's also got great crossing, dribbling, first touch, free kick taking and corners. So he's going to be good on the set pieces as well. Likes to try long range free kicks, which might not be a great trait with only 9 long shots, but either way, you can go and get this guy for £5 million or so at Mainz. He won't really be a regular starter for them when he comes back, meaning you can sometimes get him for even cheaper. And whilst I don't necessarily think he's the best player in this video, I think there's some other good options. He's definitely a great one from you guys when we're looking at those players you probably haven't signed before. So check him out if you haven't already. And that completes 10 players that you guys have suggested for us to look at in FM24. But we want to make more videos like this, so let me know in the comments who's your favourite player in FM right now. We'll check them out and hopefully they'll feature in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.